Hey guys, SFawn82 back at you with a brand new video. And if you're one of the more than 300 million people who have binge watched Stranger Things and can't wait until July for more, you're in luck. There is so much more Stranger Things content out there in the form of comic books, graphic novels, and even podcasts. But where do they fit in is a question that I asked myself when I got to this point. How do they fit into the story? Am I going to get too far ahead of the TV show? Just so many questions ran through my head when I decided I wanted to read the books. And if you had those same questions, you're in luck. Today I'm going to go over the entire chronological order for Stranger Things, from the TV show all the way through the podcast, all the way through season 5. So stay tuned. Now our first installment is a novel by the name of Suspicious Minds. This takes place in 1969 and delves into the story and origin of Dr. Brenner, aka Papa, and the story behind Hawkins' lab, MK Ultra, and Eleven's mother, Terry Ives. Our next installment is a mini comic book series by the name of Six. It follows one of Brenner's lab subjects, Six, a girl named Francine. This is also a prequel to the first season, taking place in the 70s. Our third installment is called Darkness on the Edge of Town. It is a novel, technically taking place during season 2, specifically during the winter when Elle is staying at Hopper's cabin. However, the bulk of the novel is different flashbacks to 77 and 78 in Hopper's past, so it functions as a prequel to Hopper's story before the show begins. Our next installment is Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons, a novel. Most of this book takes place in 1980, before the events of Stranger Things Season 1. This book gives you more of a sense of how important D&D is to the kids in the show. Our next installment is the Halloween Special One-Shot comic book. This takes place 6 days before the start of Season 1. It centers around Will, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas gathering at Castle Byers to eat candy and scare each other with spooky stories. After reading this material, this is where you would start the Season 1 TV show. It starts in 1980s Indiana. The kids witness supernatural forces and government exploits. The show goes for 8 episodes the first season. After watching season 1, this is where you're going to want to read the Free Comic Book Day 2019 comic book. Our next installment is a comic book series by the name of The Other Side. It recounts Will's experience while trapped in the Upside Down. You get more of Will's perspective. It was the starting point of many comics to come on Dark Horse Publishing, who publishes the comic books for Stranger Things. Our next installment is Zombie Boys, and it is a graphic novel. It follows the events of Season 1 TV show. Mike, Lucas, Will, and Dustin are dealing with the aftermath of tangling with the Upside Down. A newcomer joins the AV Club with an idea to make a horror movie based on local legends. Will's creepy drawings lead him to believe that they are the local legend. Our next installment is going to be called The Bully, and it is a graphic novel. It dives into the story of Season 1's bully, Troy, and the aftermath of being embarrassed by Eleven in front of the entire school. He and James also encountered demo dogs. Next up, we have Runaway Max, and it is a novel. Should preferably be read before Season 2 because it will give you a better idea of who Max is, her backstory, and more insight into her relationship with Billy. Now, after reading Runaway Max, you're going to want to watch Season 2. In Season 2, Will grapples with lingering effects of the Upside Down. Hopper investigates strange things in Hawkins, such as a field of rotting pumpkins. Elle reconnects with other subjects from Dr. Brenner's lab. This season had 9 episodes. Now, after watching Season 2, you're going to want to watch the Beyond Stranger Things recap TV show, and it is also on Netflix and goes for 7 episodes. It discusses inspiration for the series, behind the scenes stories, and breaks down key aspects from the storyline so far. So far, there has only been 1 season of this that launched alongside Season 2. Next up is the Winter Special One-Shot. It is a comic book one-shot. The kids of Hawkins recall childhood Christmas memories to teach Eleven about Christmas. Dustin thinks he sees something lurking in the forest. Next up, we have Into the Fire, a comic book miniseries. This follows 2 more of Dr. Brenner's subjects, including 8, whose name is Callie, and 9, who has pyrokinetic powers. Next up, you're going to want to read Science Camp, a graphic novel, and it is focused around Dustin's trip to Camp Nowhere during the summer. This is where he meets his girlfriend Susie prior to Season 3 TV show. Together they confront a sinister figure and join forces to solve mysterious disappearances. Next up, we have Rebel Robin, a novel. This is an introduction to the Robin character and explores her backstory before being introduced into Season 3. With reading Rebel Robin, there was also a Surviving Hawkins podcast that came out at the same time. This podcast is free wherever you listen to your podcasts, and it followed along with Rebel Robin, like I said before. After doing so, this is where you're going to want to watch Season 3. Season 3 takes place during the summer of '85. Steve gets a job at a mall ice cream parlor where he meets Robin. The Mind Flayer starts to possess people in Hawkins, like Billy. Now here is where you're probably going to want to read the Free Comic Book Day 2020 edition. Now after reading that 2020 Free Comic Book Day edition, you're going to want to read the Summer Special One-Shot comic book. This is about Officers Powell and Callahan patrol the streets of Hawkins during the events of the 3rd season, including the Starcourt Mall before the fire. Won't be released till July of 2022, but when it does, it will fit here. Next up, we have Lucas on the Line, and it is a novel. Another upcoming release that will take place between Seasons 3 and 4. Continues where 3 left off, with Lucas finally telling his story in his own words. After Lucas on the Line, you're going to want to read Erica the Great, the graphic novel. And this takes place after the events of Season 3. This title puts Lucas's kid sister Erica in the forefront. Erica and a friend have to work together to return a lost bird belonging to her mother. I'm going to have trouble pronouncing this next title. I think it's called Kamchatka, Kamchatka. I'll put it up on the screen. It's an ongoing comic book series that is still currently running. And it follows along with the teaser we got at the end of Season 3 in Russia. Dives into how the Soviets kidnapped a demigorgon, which was a question that I had asked myself when I was watching the TV show. And it took it to the secret prison camp, focusing on 2 teenagers who embark on a perilous journey. Now right here is where you're going to want to read this past year's Free Comic Book Day 2021 edition, and for some reason they refer to it as the 2022 edition, even though the 2 previous were 2019-2020. For some reason they skipped over 21 and went to 22. If you know why, let me know in the comments. But anyways, you're going to want to read the Free Comic Book Day 2021 from this past year right here. Now, after reading the Free Comic Book Day 2021, or 2022 as they call it, now is the time to watch Season 4, Volume 1. The gang faces a new threat in the form of a deadly monster named Vecna, which, spoiler alert, turns out to be Number 1. And we get a partial origin story of Number 1, Vecna. And now's kind of where we wait. July, we will have the 2nd volume of Season 4. And it's set to be 2 supersized episodes. It premieres on July 1st, and it will wrap up the 4th season. Now, next up would be Season 5 when it comes out. And it has been renewed for a 5th and final season. The release date, not yet announced, and filming has not begun yet. There are also some video games, companion guides, and other various merchandise out there to get your fix until the next installment drops. I also wanted to bring up a book I found when I was researching a little bit called The Book of Barb, and it's just about that character Barb that got killed off early in the 1st season, in case that was a character that you wanted to know more about. Thank you guys for watching. It was a real headache putting this list together. You could do a simple Google search and find somewhat of a list, but they're all outdated. This is a real headache to put together, but I'm glad I could do it for anyone that would appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, please subscribe, and until next time, peace.